Welcome to A1 Storyteller, where every tale is a journey and every journey is a masterpiece. Today we dive into a story that will make you question the boundaries of human potential, the power of humility, and the unexpected twists of fate. This is not just a story, it's an experience. So, grab your favorite snack, settle in, and let's unravel the tale of a teacher who thought she could mock a student, only to discover that the boy had something extraordinary hidden within him. This is Teacher Force Student to Solve Complex Equation to Mock Him, Unaware the Boy Has. Let's begin. The bell rang, signaling the start of another mundane day at Ridgewood High. The students shuffled into their seats, their faces a mix of boredom and resignation. At the front of the room stood Mrs. Clarissa Hargrove, a stern mathematics teacher known for her sharp tongue and even sharper wit. She was a woman who believed in tough love, often using sarcasm and public humiliation to motivate her students. Today, her target was Alex Carter, a quiet boy who always sat at the back of the class. Alex was an enigma. His grades were average, his participation minimal, and his presence almost invisible. To Mrs. Hargrove, he was the perfect example of wasted potential. "Alex," she called out, her voice dripping with mock sweetness, "why don't you come up to the board and solve this equation for us? Let's see if you've been paying attention." The class erupted in muffled laughter. They knew what was coming. Mrs. Hargrove had written a complex equation on the board, one that even the top students would struggle to solve. It was her way of putting Alex in his place. Alex hesitated for a moment, then stood up. His heart pounded as he walked to the front of the room. He could feel everyone's eyes on him, their smirks and whispers cutting through the air like knives. But what Mrs. Hargrove didn't know was that Alex had a secret, one that would change everything. As Alex stood in front of the board, chalk in hand, he took a deep breath. The equation was indeed complex, a jumble of variables and symbols that seemed to dance before his eyes. But to Alex, it was more than just numbers. It was a puzzle, a challenge waiting to be solved. Unbeknownst to his classmates and teacher, Alex had been studying advanced mathematics in secret. His passion for numbers had started at a young age, fueled by his late father, who had been a renowned mathematician. After his father's passing, Alex had buried himself in books, solving equations and theorems as a way to cope with his grief. As he began to write, the room fell silent. The laughter died down, replaced by stunned silence. Alex's hand moved with precision, each stroke of the chalk revealing a step in the solution. The equation that had seemed impossible was unraveling before their eyes. Mrs. Hargrove's smirk faded. She watched in disbelief as Alex solved the equation with ease, his confidence growing with each passing second. When he finally put down the chalk and turned to face the class, the room erupted in applause. But Alex wasn't done. He looked Mrs. Hargrove straight in the eye and said, "There's more than one way to solve this equation. Would you like to see another method?" Alex's display of brilliance sent shockwaves through the school. News of the quiet boy who had outsmarted the toughest teacher spread like wildfire. Students who had once ignored him now sought his help, and teachers who had written him off began to see him in a new light. But for Alex, the victory was bittersweet. He had proven himself, but at what cost? The pressure to live up to his newfound reputation was overwhelming. He found himself torn between his love for mathematics and the fear of failure. Meanwhile, Mrs. Hargrove was forced to confront her own insecurities. She had always believed that her harsh methods were necessary to push her students to succeed. But Alex's triumph made her question everything. Was she truly helping her students, or was she holding them back? As the weeks passed, Alex's life became a whirlwind of challenges and opportunities. He was invited to participate in a prestigious math competition, one that could open doors to a future he had only dreamed of. But with the competition came new pressures, and Alex began to doubt himself. It was during this time that Mrs. Hargrove approached him. "Alex," she said, her voice softer than he had ever heard it, "I owe you an apology. I underestimated you, and for that I am truly sorry. But I also want you to know that I believe in you. You have a gift, and I would be honored to help you nurture it." Her words were a turning point for Alex. With Mrs. Hargrove's support, he began to prepare for the competition, pouring his heart and soul into every equation, every problem, and when the day finally arrived, he was ready. The competition was fierce, with some of the brightest minds in the country vying for the top prize. But Alex remained calm, his focus unwavering. He tackled each problem with the same precision and determination that had carried him through that fateful day in Mrs. Hargrove's class. When the results were announced, Alex's name was at the top of the list. He had done it. He had proven to himself and to the world that he was more than just a quiet boy in the back of the classroom. He was a mathematician, a problem solver, and a force to be reckoned with. As he stood on the stage, holding the trophy, Alex looked out into the crowd and saw Mrs. Hargrove. She was smiling, her eyes filled with pride. In that moment, he realized that his journey was about more than just numbers. It was about resilience, growth, and the power of believing in oneself. And there you have it, folks. The incredible story of Alex Carter, the boy who turned a moment of mockery into a triumph of the human spirit. If this tale has inspired you, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to A1 Storyteller, and ring the bell so you never miss out on our next captivating story. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity, and every equation has a solution. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep solving. This is A1 Storyteller signing off.